in 2014, I happened to qualify for the Asian Games, which was,
Well, definitely my father was a big inspiration at the beginning, and he still is.
I mean, it's not I've been there, done that, don't get me wrong, it's an Olympic Games, you know, it's. One summer, they happened to find a summer camp at the Tamil Nadu Sailing Association, and they took me and my brother for a sailing camp for a week. And since, like, in a week, we learned to sail a boat, how the wind works, how to kind of control with three things, with a rope and a sail and with a control stick. Basically, it's called a tiller. With just these three things, how to kind of move around on the ocean, which was something I don't think is very common for anybody. And it kind of started like that, and since then we have. And I think sailing kind of was the quickest one that caught on. What I was pursuing at the time was Bharatanatyam and art, and Bharatanatyam was the one I had to give up for this. But I think it was quite a natural progression because I was good at the basics of Bharatanatyam, the physical aspect of it, but once the emotional part, the artistic parts came in, I was like, okay, I don't think this is quite for me. I mean, I really appreciated it, but I think sport was way more my thing, and sailing kind of fit that niche perfectly. And I think as a girl, and I started straight away in the class that I'm sailing now, and I had success quite early because it's not a very well-known sport in India. So my parents also were encouraged by that, and they also pushed me to pursue it and see how far I could take it. So yeah.
I started because of my dad, because my dad was sailing, and he just put me on the boat at an early age when I was 9 years old, and I just kind of was natural into learning how things were, because I was watching others how they were sailing, and I just copied them, and that's how I started sailing, and that's how I fell in love with sailing.
In 2014, I happened to qualify for the Asian Games, which was, I was in the 11th standard, so we had to take the decision to leave school in order to go to like participate in the Asian Games in Korea at the time. So that it was just kind of a natural progression. It was never like, oh, this is gonna be the rest of my life. It just kept happening. So once the Asian Games happened, and the foreign coaches at the time, they said, okay, this girl is fast, she's talented, she doesn't have the experience to perform yet, but like it's possible, you know. So with that encouragement, my parents were willing to send me to Europe to start training, and that's kind of how the rest of my career started.
Well, definitely my father was a big inspiration at the beginning, and he still is, because he planted the idea of the Olympic medal and Olympic dream into me, and that's what drives me, and that's what still drives me, because I will and I want to win an Olympic medal, and it'll be a great success for myself and my family, and for the Indian team and the whole of India itself.
In 2021, it happened. So we were ready to go for the qualifiers in 2020 in Abu Dhabi, but the lockdown started at that time. So for a year, I was stuck in Europe. I put myself there to train and kind of use that time wisely, you know. But we were locked indoors for 3 months, and then we could only go out to train, and it was quite a hard year. But it was a whole year away from home on an island somewhere, you know. It was not easy for sure, but we came back. We had the qualifier in Oman. Me, Vishnu, Varun and Ganapati, 4 of us qualified, and we'd kind of grown up together, and my family was there, and it was quite emotional because qualifying at the time was a huge thing. I mean, I think it still is. It takes quite a lot to be able to qualify. So yeah, at the time it was very emotional for sure, but this time it's been that now that I've improved quite a lot, I definitely have had the level to qualify to the games and try to look for a result this time.
They always knew I was going for the Olympic dream, and they were always supportive, and they always knew that I would succeed because I was crazy about it, and I was probably the only person to be able to already have my goals and targets locked in, as if my friends, they were still looking for what they were actually good at and what they want to pursue in life. In that way, I'm very lucky that I'm pursuing what I really love, and it's my job.
I mean, it's not I've been there, done that. Don't get me wrong. It's an Olympic Games, you know. It's a dream for a lot of people, and I'm beyond grateful and beyond honored to be able to represent a country of this size. You know, it's incredible. But last time, I think I got quite overwhelmed and caught up in the fact that suddenly people knew what sport we were playing. People knew what we were doing. So now I think I can kind of take that, enjoy that, and kind of separate it. When it comes down to race, I can kind of focus on the racing. My parents, they were putting us in anything they could find at the time. I was doing martial arts. There was a lot of things that we tried. And every summer we did some kind of summer camp. We traveled to the north of India quite a lot. And there was something called, I forget the name exactly, but we went to Chakrata, we went to Yerkad, we did a lot of mountain biking, whitewater rafting. We tried a lot of strange things, strange for someone from Chennai. Very incredible, special things we definitely have done before. We did a few treks easier treks in the Himalayas and all this. And now it's just been, I think sailing was we were lucky to find it, but it was a natural kind of next step to a sport. But yeah, I think I've just been very lucky that we managed to find something like this. Yeah. So there is definitely a lot more support from the central government. There's a huge amount of support right now that we are getting, especially those of us that have qualified to the games. And now the two of us that have qualified for the second time, they're fully supporting us financially. We also have support from the state, the STADs, the Tamil Nadu government. I also have support from college, from SRM, from a company called Go Sports and Dream Sports Foundations. There's a lot of people that have started recognizing us and started giving us outlets to kind of put as much attention on the sport like you guys are doing for us. A lot of people started to know what sailing is. They don't confuse it with rowing anymore. It's a huge thing for us to not be asked, is that rowing with this? You know, it's not at all. So yeah, it's changed a lot. Definitely, there's a club coming up near Napier's Bridge. There's a one down in Rameshwaram. There's a huge center being built, and I think that one's very close to being ready also. Sailing is unique in that you learn how to control your boat with two things to control. You learn the simple physics of why your boat moves forward. It's very basic physics. It's something anyone can pick up in a couple of seconds. You learn to tie a few knots, and suddenly you can. It's like learning to drive a car much earlier than legal age 21. I guess when you're 7, you can learn how to sail. And yeah, once you do that, the rule number 1 in sailing, we are governed by a bunch of rules by our governing body, which is World Sailing. Rule number 1 is safety, so you always have to have your life jacket, you always have to have somebody with a motorboat around you and contact with the shore, so you can never be in danger. And the boat I sail is quite a slow boat where you kind of have to train. It's a sport, like any other sport. You have to be healthy and strong to be able to move your boat. And yeah, it's something I think anyone should give it a try. It's quite astonishing. It's quite an incredible experience that anybody would have. Yeah.
It sounds so easy.
It is. It's much easier. Like me, I did know how to swim, but I wasn't a great swimmer at all. You don't need to know how to swim. You can go sailing. The boat capsizes, they're going to show you how to bring it back. It's very easy. You just kind of hang onto the thing and it flips back and you climb on. It's much easier than it looks. It's much less scary than people think it is.
Especially in India, it's a big improvement because I've seen a lot more sailors that have joined sailing, and also a lot more people that have appreciated the Olympic dream and are pursuing that dream forward, which is the whole target of me performing and me being present in the world stage. Because in the next 10 years or 20 years, I just want to see more Indian sailors in Europe, or more Indian sailors in general performing in Europe or in the world stage. And that's the whole target, and maybe we win more medals in world stage. That's the final achievement, and it just keeps on going. So that's the legacy I think we all look forward to. My goal is to have the school kids do sailing. Like we play football, we have to educate the kids about other sports as well, like sailing, and more water sports or any other sports which is close to the nature as well. And weekly, once or twice, doesn't matter, as long as they get educated and get the feel for it. And of course, we have a lot of population, so out of 1.3 billion, I'm sure at least 300,000 would be very good sailors, you know.